We begin the news in Nigeria's Niger Delta, where the chairman of the All Progressives Congress Caretaker Committee in Rivers State, Tony Okocha, has knocked some chieftains of the PDP in the state over the recent declaration of support for President Bola Tinubu and Governor Siminalayi Fubara. This came as a direct reaction to a press conference by former national chairman of PDP party, and that's Uche Secondus, the former Minister of Transportation, Abiye Sekibo, among others, who declared their support for Tinubu and Fubara. While addressing the press conference at the National Secretariat of the party in Abuja, Okocha said most of all those PDP elements are still in Atiku's camp. He also faulted the declaration of support for President Tinubu, saying they are the ones giving the governor Fubara the confidence to challenge the resolution of President Tinubu on the political crisis rocking Rivers State.
If the midnight pseudo-lovers of Mr. President today, as shown in their test under critique, if they are now convinced that Mr. President is abundantly fit and proper to preside over Nigeria, and that his 10 months in office has provided renewed hope for an El Dorado for Nigerians, and choose to recant their hitherto unsavory and unprintable toxics against Mr. President, they should follow the proper channels allowed for porting or decamping to any political party. This approach of browbeating and blackmailing they intend to use is not fashionable at all. No sane host tolerates a guest who attempts to enter his or her house through the window when the doors are wide open. That's 6 out of 8. Why are the other 2 difficult? What are the 2? Go and conduct local government election. And if you are governor, you are almost there for 1 year, and every day you think you are carrying crowd, you should just test the waters and find out that those crowds you are carrying are rented. When a man is hungry and you say, hey, enter the bus, we are going for somewhere, I will give you 5,000, they will push each other to enter the bus. That's the kind of crowd he has. He doesn't have the people. And Rivers.
Meanwhile, the Rivers State House Assembly has accused Governor Siminalayi Fubara of dishonesty, threatening to resume impeachment proceedings against him if he continues to breach the Constitution. Martin Amawole, the Speaker of the House, made it known on Saturday during a press briefing in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Amawole, who was accompanied by 26 members of the Assembly, read out a communique issued after the briefing. The lawmakers accused the governor of refusing to hold up to his end of the presidential peace accord, which he willfully signed without coercion. And to talk about this on the news, I'm joined by the former special advisor to ex-governor Nyesom Wike, Opunabo Inkotaria, and also a public affairs analyst and also chairman of Niger Delta Non-Violence Agitators Forum for Rivers State Chapter, and that's Comrade Ruben Izu Jr. Gentlemen, good morning. Glad to have you both join me.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, let me start with Nkotaria. I mean, talk to me about what you think of this move by the Rivers State House Assembly to impeach the governor. What are your thoughts on this?
Ordinarily, I would have described it as legislative perambulation if they were not impostors. But the fact that they were impostors, I cannot describe it as legislative perambulation or rascality, because we already have known laws and judgments to bolster the fact that once you defect from a political party to another, and there is no schism in your party, or there are no mergers, you've lost your seat automatically. The law did not say when the matter is being prosecuted. It said automatically. So that's why I refer to them as just impostors. And they have no right whatsoever to talk of impeachment, because only legislators are allowed to talk of impeachment. And if the governor is found guilty, removed, because there is a difference between impeachment and removal. Impeachment simply means official indictment. So only the legislators are allowed to so do. And so these 26 or 27 impostors cannot, it is not within their variance anymore to talk of impeachment. That is one aspect of it. Secondly, on what grounds are you going to talk of impeachment? What are the grounds? You say the man is dishonest. Come up, highlight them, signpost those areas. Are you talking of representation of a budget? I listen to the bombastic rhetorics of Tony Okocha. Are you talking of representation of budget, things like that? No. First and foremost, Mr. President is the father of the nation, no doubt, and it is also incumbent on him to, wherever there are crises, to ensure that peace reigns. But Mr. President is not the law, he's subject to the law. And so if you talk of representation of budget because Mr. President said go and represent the budget, no, the matter is even in court. So until the court makes a pronouncement, the court of first instance, which was Danagogo's court, Justice by Lord Honorable Judge Danagogo, had already given a judgment that ratified that budget, and also in that judgment, also even recognized Edison here, who is now the chief of staff, who resigned and is now the chief of staff, as the speaker. And that budget was passed with Edison here as the speaker. You have to wait until we get to the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, Supreme Court, and that judgment is upheld, before you can even talk of representation of a budget. Don't forget that the budget has become law, was passed into law. So are you going to repeal it and represent because Mr. President said so? Mr. President himself is subject.
Permit me to get Permit me to get the insight of Mr. Izu. Mr. Ruben Uzu, what do you think about these? According to the Rivers Assembly, they are saying he has contravened the Constitution. Do you think this is about the Constitution, or do you sense this could be politically motivated?
The record needs to be made straight. Tony Okocha, for the record, is not a lawmaker. He is an acting chairman of the All Progressive Congress in Rivers State and a Rivers rep in the NDDC. So whatever he says might be seen a little bit kind of politics, because his stand has nothing to do when it comes to the actions and inactions of the governor that warrants an impeachment proceeding. But I think where the impeachment proceedings and rumors kind of, I should say, are actually being weighty is on the part of the lawmakers. If everyone has listened keenly, just like my colleague have just rightly said from his angle, that the lawmakers should come up with their facts. I've been listening to the press briefing by the 27 lawmakers. They pointed out obvious facts that the governor has actually aired, not just on the peace accord that was brokered by the president, but the speaker frontally made obvious that even the Public Procurement Act is currently being violated. That we don't know, because from what he said, the Constitution permits that the governor should nominate, and the persons who are to man the Public Procurement Bureau board should have gone through screening of the State Assembly, and upon confirmation, they are now constituting that board. But right now, there is no known member. According to his statement, I quote, there is no known member constituted for that very board, but yet they are spending. And for me, when I listen to the speaker quietly, I wouldn't dabble into politics, but going by what he has actually brought to the public for, I think is a bit amount to gross misconduct. According to the Constitution, they have also made one thing clear, that they are not neck bent on impeaching the governor, but the Constitution has also permitted them, and they have allowed it to be the last resort. And from what he said some couple of weeks back, when I listened and watched keenly the proceedings of the assembly, they sent the clerk on an errand to communicate to the governor, and he was frontally insisting, if they refuse to take minutes from us, we will as well refuse to take minutes from them. This has become the lost long love between the State Assembly and the governor.
Okay,
and
Mr. Ezo, just to chip in there, aside, you mentioned misconduct and all of that, but beyond all of this, as you have itemized the allegations as to the governor Fubara, not meeting up to the 8-point agreement brokered by the President Bola Tinubu, which was signed last year.
No, understand. I don't want to. I love what my brother said. Whatever the president said, the president is also a citizen. In as much as he is the number one, he is also part and parcel of the citizens who must.
But my point really is this, Mr. Izu. Yes, I was going to say, shouldn't the details of the 8-point agreement be made known to the public?
That is not law. That's why I don't want to even go there. I want to hold my argument based on what the speaker has said. The speaker, if he has made mention of some of the 8-point agendas that the president gave to the both warring factions, that is not part and parcel of law. It's just, I would say, a verbal agreement between the president and the two warring factions. Is never a terms of law that will be referred to anywhere. Where I am most concerned is the areas that the law can back the assembly that has led to being misconduct or gross misconduct from that of the governor. Two things I saw and I picked out was spending without the budget according to them. He has not presented the budget, which we are aware that is also a litigation in court. Secondly, the Board of Public Bureau is not constituted, but it seems like money is being spent from some persons who are close to the governor, alleged by the State Assembly. Then thirdly, he is not ready to do the local government election, but there is an insinuation that, because I know that in Rivers State in 2 months, I think 2 months or thereabout, about the current local government administration will elapse. There is no primaries whatsoever currently to replace the current local government chairman as they are going out. By now, there should have been primaries telling you that there will be election.
Let me quickly get the perspective.
Independent Electoral Commission is waiting.
Yeah, let me just get a perspective of Mr. Inko-Taria. With all of these happenings in Rivers State, the assembly between the governor and all of these power tussle, so to speak, how do you think this will impact the political climate in Rivers State?
First, let me quickly respond to the issue of the procurement board and so on. I have not seized of the facts concerning the procurement board if we have a board, but we always had a board. I don't know if it was dissolved by the governor himself, because the governor is not even aware that I'm going to be here, and the governor has never sent me on any occasion to defend him or defend his government. So I'm not aware of that procurement. But under Nyesom Wike, we had a board, but whether it was dissolved or not is a different thing altogether. That is number one. But let us not forget the fact, my brother, that even the assembly members don't even have the locus to question these issues. That's even the point. They don't even have the locus. Unless a court of appeal overrules that of the high court, they are not members of the assembly. And of course, we have plethora of cases to bolster that. So they don't even have the locus. They are just tools used by certain groups led by the FCT minister to destabilize the government of Rivers State. It's as simple as that. That is number one. So because you cannot place something on nothing. So on what grounds are they coming out to even question? Unless they are coming out as citizens, but not as legislators to question it.
I hear you when you say, yes, I hear you.
You have the question.
Yes, Inko-Taria, I hear you when you say they have no legal ground as to carry out with any impeachment proceedings whatsoever. But then what would be a lasting solution, an alternative to peace between the governor of Ubara and also the House Assembly?
The problem, let me be honest with you. The problem has to do with control. I refer to it as the pestilence of godfatherism. I am instrumental to your emergence as a governor. Like he said, he regretted. Remember, don't forget that the FCT minister himself said to the world that he bought all the forms for all the aspirants as at that time. I'm talking about the PDP aspirants. So he felt that he was going to do a top 10 through whoever was going to take over from him. And the man, Fubara, the governor of Rivers State, came in and was asphyxiated by the so-called imposition, and you must do this and you must do that. And he said, no, let me free myself. Yes, I agree. I also recognize the fact that you are instrumental But don't forget that I also have a legacy to keep, to live. Because after my 4 years, nobody will say, you brought me in, therefore you will take the blame. They will say, no, Governor Fubara, what is your scorecard? How well did you perform while you were in government office?
Mm.
And this will affect both himself and his generations unborn. And that is just the problem, the pestilence of godfatherism. Those of us who are in River State, we understand what it is. Before the saga, we knew what was going on.
Yes.
The Fubara couldn't have even placed a block.
If I may come in there, if I may just quickly come in there, because we're pressed for time, let me quickly get a reaction of Mr. Izu to that, statement you made.
You wanted a solution. I thought I was going to rush. So the best way is for the feuding parties to first of all recognize their limits and also realize that they are probably not, the government will not suffer, the FCT minister will not suffer, but River State will suffer. Look at other states, developments going on since the last year May to date. But look at what is happening in River State. We are struggling to attain the height we intend to attain because of the crisis.
Okay,
we don't need this division in this state at all.
Okay, I wanted to get the quick reaction of
as leaders.
Yeah, that's a fine place to wrap it up, Mr. Inko Taria. Let me get a quick reaction of Mr. Izu to your statement as to the problem in real estate being much more of control and godfatherism. Mr. Izu, in just less than 30 seconds, we're pressed for time.
Yeah, the truth about it is we have two warring factions here, and both factions loyal to different godfathers, if I should say, as the case may be currently. You can see that the 27 lawmakers are loyal to the former governor, and the current governor of the state seem to have gathered the loyalists of former governors, former lawmakers, and all the rest on one side. Now, like I earlier said, the president has done his bit to see how he could resolve the both factions in the state, that peace may return. But currently, this is a constitutional issue, and the both various cases that has emerged in the state are all litigations in court. I don't want to be a part of those who believe that you take two steps instead of one step before the other. I am very much certain that except the both factions agree to come together and allow issues to lie, that's why you have out of court settlement. If they refuse to settle these things amicably within themselves to function, then we must allow the court do the needful, because I know that the 27 lawmakers are in court. The governor and his allies are also in court, challenging both factions in different actions. I am very much certain that if not for delay in judicial proceedings, this should have laid to rest, just like what he has pointed out. The 27
I'm afraid that's the most we can take on this edition of the news. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time on the news. It's been enlightening speaking with both of you. Away from that, ahead of the 1-year anniversary of current administration, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has continued inspection of several key projects expected to be commissioned by President Bola Tinubu. The minister paid a visit to some of the projects within the Abuja Municipal area council, saying many of the projects are almost completed and are proof of President Bola Tinubu's commitment to providing infrastructure to residents of the capital. Amadin Uyi reports.
6 key roads and bridges were earmarked to be inspected. The team from the Federal Capital Territory Administration, led by the Minister Nyesom Wike, visited all projects expected to be commissioned at the 1-year anniversary of the current government on May the 29th. Wike received updates from representatives of all the project contractors.
We are already on all the electric poles, the light street lights. We have done about half of it. I believe in the next 2 weeks we'll complete it all.
The other buildings down, ADC, CSO is also painted, facade, 90% inside already executed.
The space is not too much for us. There's something we can do maybe under 1 week. The major problem that we have is just the macadam, and we already started.
This is an important road because it connects expressway to expressway when finally completed.
The minister gave an update on some of the projects visited.
We have been to 6 sites today. We went to the southern part, the central government. Talk to him. And the contractors reaffirmed that project will be handed over to us first week of May or thereabout. Then we went to the VP's residence, which they have done by Julius Becker. And you can see that they have said they have done not less than 90%. By next week, they are doing the planting of grasses and the rest of it. So that also, when it is good, we have to over to us by May.
He says that there will be no rest for the inspection team in view of the fast approaching May 29th ceremony, and assured citizens that President Bola Tinubu will continue to keep his promises to Nigerians.
These projects are not the only projects we are expecting to be handed over to us. We believe that after the public order of Monday, we are meeting with all the contractors on Tuesday to know how ready, and then on Wednesday, we're also going to see some sites at Mozambique and other areas to see the level of preparedness. So for us, we're happy with what we're seeing, and we thank God that, like I've said before, the Lead Hope agenda is working.
The minister also assured that the projects being constructed will meet the highest standards. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadin Uyi.
You're live with News Central TV. Let's take a short break. Stay with us. Thank you for staying tuned. The Delta State Governor, Sheriff Oborowori, has been urged to prevail on President Bola Tinubu's and the NDLA chairman to rescue the Omoria family's second son, Eramosele, from total blindness. Stray bullets from the guns of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency officials shattered the left eye of the boy in his mother's shop during a raid in Okpanam, Delta State on 13th of July 2023. The same stray bullets took the life of his elder brother, Ivan Omoria, during the incident. News Center's correspondent Austin Azu paid a visit to the family in the Okpanam area and the road suburb of Asaba and has details.
It has been 8 months and 13 days after the accident that took place here in Asaba that led to the early death of a 2-year-old boy who was cut short by a straight bullet of NDLA. 8 months and 13 days thereafter, the younger brother of Ivan, who was cut short by the NDLA bullet, has been battling for his health. I'm here at his father's house, Fidelis Omoria, to seek what has happened so far about the younger brother who has been ill for some time now.
On the 13th of December, I have to go and bury my son at the mortuary. Since the chairman has come, that there's no issue and all that. So when I buried my son, they now told us that since we have buried my son, my first son, that we should not worry. Within a short while, they will get the visa and the expedited date for us. With the chairman, NDLA, I was in communication with him. He was assuring me every day that they will do the needful, that I should not worry.
The father, who explained the various stages gone through after the promise made by the NDLA chairman, including securing a traveling visa that was unsuccessful, said in spite of the urgency that the trip requires, the family regrets that little or nothing is being done to expedite action. He said the family not only battled with the irreversible damage that was done to their psyche, but they were also saddled with the burden of paying the enormous hospital bills that come with treating the child.
Governor Sheriff Oborowori, to help me prevail on the federal government and the NDLA to help me save my son. I don't want him to die again. At least I've lost one. It's okay. Let's see how we can put us together to rescue, to save this one.
The son's mother, who couldn't hold back her tears, said they can't watch their only son losing his sight after losing their first son. She lamented the sleepless nights they have been experiencing because of the deteriorating health of the child, saying they can no longer wait till 2025 before the visa approval to take the child abroad for surgery.
I'm begging the governor, please help us speak to Marwa, the president, Ahmed Tinubu. Please come to our aid. Come to our aid. I cannot lose a child. And I have a child lose an eye. The whole reason for those surgery is to help to get his sight back intact.
Efforts to reach out to the NDLA chairman were unsuccessful.
8 months and 13 days thereafter, this young boy here is still battling for his eyesight, who was wounded by the straight bullet from the NDLA. They are all appealing to the federal government and relevant stakeholders to come to their rescue to enable this young boy regain his sight. In Asaba, for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
And joining me on the news to unpack this is Director, Media and Advocacy at National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Femi Babafemi. Good morning. Glad to have you join me. I mean, it's almost a year now. This boy has been shot in the eye. What is taking the agency so long to get this young boy the necessary medical attention he needs?
Well, this has to do with the preference of the parents to have him taken to the U.S. For medical attention. And the agency has been with them on that. I must state, first, that indeed the agency sympathizes with the family. We are very much with them. We been with them from the beginning. Promises were made to them, and we have never reneged or deviated from the promises made to them. Indeed, they applied to the U.S. Embassy for visa for them and the little baby to be taken to the U.S. for medical attention. And the agency has, in that regard, written to the U.S. Embassy to inform them that the agency will be responsible for their travel expenses and their medical bills. All of those are well documented. Now, as much as we continue to speak with the embassy officials to encourage them or to plead with them to grant the family visa, it's also something that is beyond our control. We cannot dictate or determine who the embassy when they issue visa. And even as at the last time that they were refused visa, just about 2 weeks ago or thereabout, I can also confirm that indeed the chairman of the agency, when he had that, he had to call some of the officials of the embassy directly to speak with them and see, engage with them to allow the family reapply. In fact, the head of our protocol of the agency has been working with them in this regard from day one. So it's not as if the agency has abandoned or neglected them or reneged on its promises, but because of the preference of the family to take the baby, the child, to the U.S. for treatment and issuance of visa
permit me to
is
cut
something
you
that
there,
is not.
Mr. Babafemi. Just to cut you there, permit me to cut you there. When you say it's the preference of the family to take the child abroad, what other alternative did you provide to the parents?
Oh, indeed. Don't forget that there are also facilities here or elsewhere. But then don't forget that it's their preference. We cannot dictate where they want to have their child treatment. For us, that's really not. But if they believe it's the U.S., they can get the best of treatment. We're with them. It costs us much more, and we are very much committed to that. So that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
But you know, this is time bound,
there are no
Mr.
alternatives.
Babafemi. Yes, you know, this is time bound. Looking at the critical nature or state of the child, the more delay is being made, the more critical his condition gets. What efforts are being made to liaise with authorities to help expedite action to fly this boy abroad and get the necessary treatment he desires before he goes blind?
Now, I have just told you now that soon after they were refused visa the last time, that the chairman of the agency himself made calls to the embassy officials to see, plead with them to allow this family reapply so that they can they can reconsider their application. Don't forget, you and I know for a fact that indeed issuance of visa depends, that's it, at the discretion of the issuing embassy. It's not what an agency like the NDLA has control over. We can only plead with them and provide all the necessary documentation they need from our side,
But
all of
if
which we
indeed,
have done.
yes, I mean, it bothers me, and I want to ask you again, why couldn't the agency take up the visa application for this child, knowing they are responsible, guilty, for the condition of this child? Now, beyond that, you made mention of calls being made to the embassy. Which other authority are you liaising with to help put pressure on the embassy to ensure his visa is processed as soon as possible?
Well, it's the embassy we have to deal with in this case. Don't forget that this is not a matter that it's not known to other authorities in government.
But did you reach out to them? Did the agency reach out to them? When you say authorities and governments are aware, what collaborative efforts have you made to reach out to different authorities to ensure, all hands are on deck, pressure is being mounted to ensure that the agency, or the embassy rather, grants visa access to the child?
All of those, I can assure you, all of those are being done. And that's why I'm telling you that indeed we're doing all within our power to ensure that the embassy reconsiders its position to grant them visa. And that we have never failed to do, even with the utmost urgency that it deserves.
But this is well over a year. When you say your chairman has put calls across to the embassy, you're speaking with some persons or some stakeholders, this is well over a year. And this boy's condition tends to degenerate as time passes by. I believe you need to do much more in terms of putting pressure on the embassy or even the agency, NDLEA itself, taking over the application of visa for this child. What other measures would you like to explore to help expedite action to ensure this child can be taken abroad for necessary treatment?
All that is within our power to do, they are all the things we are doing at the moment. We cannot go and issue visa on our own to them. We can only work with those who have that responsibility to issue visa, for them to reconsider their position and do what we're seeking, what we're pleading with them to do, and that's exactly what we'll be doing.
Yes, just to chip in there, how about the Minister of Foreign Affairs? Have you made efforts, whatsoever to contact them and speak with them on also, in a way to expedite action for this delayed treatment for this child?
In situations like this, the agency does not work in isolation. That's why I've just told you that we're doing all that is within our power to ensure that they get the needed reconsideration by the embassy.
Well, we'll try to keep in touch with you as the story develops, but thank you so much for your insight on the news. Femi Babafemi, thank you once again.
Thank you for having me.
Moving on to another story. Muslim faithful in Jos, the Plateau State capital, north-central Nigeria, have urged the federal government to wade into the economic crisis that has caused untold hardship to citizens. And this was made known when News Central correspondent Chizoba Anyanwe started to find out how they are coping with the economic meltdown, even as they perform their Ramadan rites.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Ramadan is one of the most spiritual exercises within Islam. It is a period of fasting where believers abstain from as much as carnal acts as possible, give alms to the less privileged, and above all, abstain from food from 6 o'clock in the morning till same time in the evening when a call for the closing prayer for the day's fast is heard.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Sani Muazu, his wife and children have just concluded prayers to end the day's fast. It is now time for the breaking of fast with different dishes to choose from. They spoke on the essence of Ramadan.
Fasting is not just a way of nourishment to the soul. It is also, a shield for the Muslim, shield from committing all kinds of atrocities or, unruly behaviors.
It's not the much that you give, but it's the little that you are able to give. There's a hadith that the Prophet said that even if it is half a date, share one date, give your neighbor half.
It gives me a chance personally to reconnect with my religion, to put this hustle and grind to the side just for a little while and focus on what is important.
Especially us as youths, coming from the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you interact with people.
Behind me here is the Masalichin Juma in Jos. It is the biggest and the main worship center for the Muslim faithful here on the plateau. However, I am here to ascertain from the Muslim faithful how they cope with the hardship of the economy as they celebrate the month of Ramadan in Jos.
We are trying our best to cope with the economy because this our fasting is a sacrifice that we must do it.
When doing fasting, I have kamu, I drink. Nothing. This condition is very high. It's very high. We need government to do something about this.
Behind the sharing of this palliative is Pam Wadcom, the senator representing Plateau North Senatorial District.
As we can see today, people are suffering. People are stopping you from the road, begging you, or asking you for assistance or help. So I think this can go a long way in touching the lives of some people.
I want to appreciate the senator for remembering the Muslims, for the palliative.
By the next 9 days, when Ramadan will come to an end, it is expected that the fruits of the month-long fast and lengthy supplication to the Almighty will be evident in the commitment of everyone to making the country a better place for all. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Uyi.
Coming up, Egyptian president begins his third term. We have details after the break. Join us again. Thank you for staying with us. The news continues in North Africa, where Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi begins his third term this week, buoyed by massive fresh financing. But experts say the road out of economic crisis will still be long and arduous. Sisi won December's presidential election with 89.6% of the vote, standing against three unknowns. He's set to begin his third term officially on Wednesday, with local media reporting that he will swear the oath before Parliament the day before. Pundits have speculated about a potential cabinet reshuffle as Cairo struggles to contain the fallout from 2 years of punishing economic crisis and dire foreign currency shortages. More than 1,000 demonstrators took to the streets of central Tunis to call for a ceasefire in Gaza. The event marks Palestinian Land Day, an annual commemoration of a deadly 1976 crackdown on protests against Israeli land seizures.
وقفة أقل ما نجم نعمله للشعب الفلسطيني. شعب قاعد يعاني depuis des années. Donc يوم الأرض c'est une occasion باش ديما نتفكروا اللي هي فما مظلمة في أرض فلسطين واللي نحن كعرب ومسلمين لازمنا نوقفوا مع أخواننا.
بمناسبة يوم الأرض 30 مارس من كل عام خرجنا باش نذكروا أن القضية الفلسطينية جزء لا يتجزأ من الشعب التونسي وأن الشعب التونسي ماهوش نسي القضية الفلسطينية وما هيش حكر عنها.
Following his re-election, Istanbul Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu has spoken to his followers, positioning himself as Recep Tayyip Erdogan's principal rival. By repeating his historic victory from 2019, İmamoğlu struck a further blow to President.
İstanbul'u kazandı. Kutlu olsun. Mesajı verdiniz. Bakacağız. Alacaklar mı? Almayacaklar mı? Umarım alırlar. Millet bugün ben barıştan yanayım dedi. Ben huzurdan yanayım dedi. Ben demokrasiden yanayım dedi. Ben adaletten yanayım dedi. Öyle değil mi? Biz demokrasi aşığıyız. Biz demokrasiye inancı tam Türk gençliğiz. Öyle değil mi? Yarın sabah hep birlikte yeni bir yelken açıyoruz. Yarın pırıl pırıl mis gibi bir bahar gününe uyanıyoruz. Mis gibi mis.
And for business stories, let's connect with the business desk.
Hello and welcome to Business News. The Nigerian naira appreciated significantly against the US dollar throughout March 2024. Official figures indicate that the naira closed the month at 1,309 naira per dollar on the last trading day, up from 1,595 naira 11 kobo per dollar at the end of February 2024. In a parallel market, the naira saw an even more pronounced recovery. The exchange rate improved from 1,600 naira per dollar in February to 1,250 naira per dollar in March, representing a 28% gain in 1 month. The gains in the official and parallel market are the largest seen in over 5 years. Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, RIFAN, has called on the federal government to restart the Anchor Borrowers Program, ABP, and address insecurity across the country as a measure to stem the ever-increasing rice prices. This was stated by the Vice President of the group, Nina Ejim, in an interview with the News Agency of Nigeria, NAN. Recall that RIFAN, a top beneficiary of the ABP, with 1,518,603 members benefiting from the borrowing program, is currently grappling with a repayment shortfall. From the total principal of 283.01 billion naira that was allocated to RIFAN, there has been a repayment of 137.24 billion naira. This leaves an outstanding principal balance of 145.77 billion naira, which is considered as past due. And finally, Ivory Coast's President Alassane Ouattara will raise the official farm gate price of cocoa from the current 1,000 CFA francs per kilogram to 1,500 CFA francs on Tuesday. This is based on information from sources at 5 distinct export companies. The sources, who pleaded anonymity, stated that they were referring to a decision made on Saturday at a government meeting. The official farm gate price that growers in Ivory Coast, a key producer, can charge for their beans has not yet reflected the more than threefold increase in cocoa prices over the past year, as disease and unfavorable weather sent the world market to a third consecutive deficit.
And now to sports stories. Bayana of South Africa, the reigning African champions, have arrived in Nigeria ahead of the final round 2024 Paris Olympic Games qualifiers against Super Falcons. The team under Desiree Ellis touched down in Abuja on Sunday afternoon, brimming with confidence. South Africa defeated Tanzania 4-0 on aggregate to set up a clash against Super Falcons of Nigeria. The first leg will take place at the Moshood Abiola Stadium in Abuja on Friday, 5th April, with a reverse fixture set for Tuesday, 9th April at the Loftus Versluis Stadium in Pretoria. The winner of both legs will advance to Paris 2024 Olympics Games. Steve Gerson of South Africa ended a 2-year championship drought on Sunday by clinching victory at the Gallery Classic held at Mission Hills Country Club on Ranko Mirage Calif. The World Golf Hall of Fame were just 2 PGA champions who finished the tournament at 13 under 203. Gerson's victory was secured with a par on the final hole as his close competitor Stephen Alka of New Zealand faltered with a bogey after sending his shot into the water. And that's all on the news at this hour. But before we go, let's take a look again at some of the major stories. Again, Rivers lawmakers threaten to impeach Governor Fubara. Egyptian President Al-Sisi begins third term. Tunisian demonstrators march in support of ceasefire in Gaza. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen and follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adebola Adedugba.